Hey, what's happening, Facebook? This is Michael Sneed back again. First off, let me say I'm using hands-free. I'm being safe. I'm not just driving and holding the phone. I have a camera set up in my car, so I'm being safe and just using hands-free mode. And I'm just talking to you all. So always be safe if you're going to be out here on Facebook and doing live feeds while you're driving. Be safe. Well, I'm back again. I used to starting a business from scratch. As you know, I actually got out of that business about 4 months ago. I'm actually back into another business now. It's an investment group we started, and within that investment group, we go out and we build businesses, do investments. Other people who have businesses that need money, they can come to us. We kind of like a little incubator to help them out with their businesses and money and finances. So I got one more month with my old business before I'm totally off the books with them. Even though I'm out of there and they have new partners and they're actually running the business without me, and I'm no longer a part of the business day-to-day operations. Still, the lease and stuff, the agreements that we sign, I'm still held accountable for those until those terms run out. So end of September, I'll be totally done with the lease agreements and all that stuff, and I can talk a little bit more freely about the new businesses that I'm a part of and the new stuff that we're doing. But today, I just wanted to come out and talk to you about if you're getting ready to form a business. I'm getting a lot of questions from people about what do you have to do to actually start a business. How do I start it? And that's what I'm talking about today. I'm going to give you the first 5 things that you need to do if you're going to go start a business. The first thing you need to do, and you get ready to go start a business, you need to know what type of business you want to do. I get a lot of questions from people that email me and call me, and they ask me a question about, hey, Mike Sneed, can you tell me a good business where I can get in for little money that I can, last 2 days ago, I got a text from a good friend. Hey, Sneed, this is about 11 o'clock at night. Hey, Sneed, think about a business I can do that doesn't require a lot of skill sets, that I can do as a sole proprietor, don't take any money, and call me first thing in the morning. And I looked at it, I said, wow, if I knew that, I'd be doing it. But it's kind of funny. I said, he gave me an assignment to do while he go to bed and want me to go research it for him. But unfortunately, I have a couple of things because of my group that we're in, the investment club. We're always looking at businesses. So I have a couple of things on my head I could tell them. But the first thing you want to do, you want to find out what business that you actually want to be a part of. And I'm finding out a lot of people have that used to be that part. What I would think would be the easiest part is actually figuring out what you want to do. For most people, that's the hardest part, where people that are not able to think or go out and research, or I don't know what it is, why they're not able to see businesses and figure out what it is they would like to be a part of. Somebody had told me one time the reason why people are not able to do it anymore is because of the education system now. Education has taken away stuff like arts, music, and stuff that made people creative and to think, and it got everything so structured where everybody is told exactly what to do and what not to do, and if you get outside of the lines, you get in trouble. So now when it comes to a point where they need to be creative and need to be able to think and think outside of the box, they're not able to do it. So that's why so many people are always asking me, what business can I do? And when I tell them a business, I'm just telling business off the top of my head. I haven't really went really in detail about the business. If it's a good fit for them, because a good fit for me and my lifestyle and where I'm at in my life for a business might not be the same reason for you. You might be somewhere totally different in your life where you might not have the time to put into that business. That business may not create the cash flow that you need. That business might require too much cash flow for you to go. But I just tell them, I say, well, look at this business. And then the first business I tell them, a lot of times they run out and start trying to do it. And sometimes that I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I'm leading people wrong, or should I just not tell them anything, tell them to go out and search and find it. But I don't know. But the first thing you need to do, you need to go out and figure out what type of business you would like to do. A good book that I usually suggest people read, The $100 Startup. You can get that book. It gives you a lot of ideas. And then just look around from day to day, the stuff that you do and the different businesses that you come in contact with, and see if that's something that you would like to offer to the public. So first thing you need to do, figure out what type of business it is that you would like to run. Second thing you need to do, you need to go out and get you a DBA or incorporate. I normally say do a DBA first because it's quicker, it's easier, it gives you more control of the money and stuff, and really you're not making any money right now. So you just want to get it up and moving so that you can start receiving money. And a lot of times, if you're in a business and you need somebody to write you a payment, and you don't have a DBA, some people are kind of skeptical to write a big check to you personally. So that's why you need to go get a DBA. And a DBA is just it'd be Michael Sneed doing business as Landscapers Incorporated. So that way, when I if I had a landscaping business I wanted to start, I'll go get DBA papers and put it as Michael Sneed doing business as, that's what DBA stand for, Landscapers Incorporated. So when I go to a corporation and I was to mow their yard and I charged them $500 to do it, they wouldn't write the check to Michael Sneed. They could actually write it to Landscapers Incorporated, and I'll be able to cash it at the bank. And that way, it gives me the appearance of a real company, and people seem to be more apt to do business with you and to write you checks and to get into contracts with you. And you can then but you don't have any kind of what they call protection far as from your personal assets from that, but really you're not making any money and you're trying to prove a business concept. So all you want to do is get it up and running and prove it. Then once you get it proved, you want to actually then go in and incorporate it, and you can turn it into an LLC, S corp, or whatever. But you want to get it up and running first, and you want to do that as a DBA. And a way to do your DBA, it used to be pretty easy back in the days. 10, 15 years ago, you could just go into the bank and say, hey, I want to open up a DBA, and you just they'll open up a DBA just like you're opening up a regular checking account, and in 15, 20 minutes you got your bank account, you got checks, you got a debit card, everything, you out the door. But from what I've understand, because of the Patriot Act, with people trying to see if people are starting to scam businesses, I guess, and all the the people going around and getting in the country illegal, I don't know. But now they have made it real hard to actually go out and start a DBA. So now if you want to do a DBA, open up a bank account, you got to actually go down to your Register of Deeds office, whichever town you're going to be in. Or you can go to I'm in North Carolina. I could go to Raleigh, go to the Register of Deeds in Wake County, or you can go to the Register of Deeds, we're starting something down in Johnston County. Go to that Register of Deeds. They give you a form, and on that form, you just want to fill it out as a sole proprietor. Put your name, make sure that the name that you want to use is available. So you'll go out and look and see. Okay, I want to make my company Landscapers Incorporated. I go out and look at the on the state treasurer site and see if that name is available. If nobody else has that name, then I just write that down. This is what my name gonna be: Michael Sneed, doing business as Landscapers Incorporated. Cost you like $25, $26. You got to get it notarized. If you're dealing with any bank, you can just take it to your bank and they'll notarize for you for free. Take it back down there, pay the state the $25, $26. They give you a form you can take to the bank. You take that to the bank, and then they'll open up your DBA account. Now, like I said, it used to be pretty easy to open them. The last 2 or 3 I've done, it's getting more and more cumbersome. I just finished doing a business this maybe about 30-40 minutes ago. Me and one of my business partners just went out and we formed another business, and this time it got even worse. They wouldn't take the cash that we wanted to put in to form a business. They say it takes 24 to 48 hours for the account to open. So we go there and we say we want to make this account, fine, but you can't put no money in the account, which is kind of putting us in a bind because we have some stuff we need to purchase this weekend. And because they won't take our money until Tuesday next week, even though you got an account, we gotta find something, another way to make our purchases and not use the cash and stuff that we got. Cause that's another thing too. If you move large sums of money, when you start doing business, it's not a large sum. But for a lot of people, it is a large sum. So if you start to move like over, I think it's $10,000. If you start to move over $10,000 into a account, the bank have to report that over to the government. They moved a large sum of money into this account, and what the government do, if I don't know if they start targeting your account or looking at you closer or order you, I don't know, but I don't want to tip the government off and have them coming in looking at my checkings account and stuff. So what happens, we could have taken the money and moved it into one of our personal accounts or another business account, but then in about 2 or 3 days we would have taken that large sum of money again and moved it over into another account. Then the government look at that as saying you're doing what they call structuring, where you're actually breaking up your deposits and trying to move deposits back and forth to try to get by, not triggering their watchdogs, and you're breaking your big deposits up and moving them, even though we wouldn't have been. I don't know the time frame. Some people have you do that more times in one day, or if you do it maybe in 2 or 3 day time period. I don't know, but I don't want to get caught up in it. So I try to make sure I stay way below their limit and keep off their radar. So we could have moved the money into one of our personal accounts and moved it right back, but that would have triggered the government watchdog to start looking at our accounts and for them to send stuff off to the government. So yeah, so when you do your DBA, be mindful of that. If you got a large sum of money that you're going to be putting into that DBA, you know that if you get above 10,000, I think it is, but they always changing it. I think it's 10,000, but you need to check and see that you can ask. The bank won't tell you. If you go, that's another thing too. If you go to the bank and you ask them what's the sum of money that I can put into this account, they won't trigger it. They can't tell you that. They say we can't discuss that. But you can ask them for a form. I think it's called the Bank Secrecy Act requirement. You say, can I have the updated Bank Secrecy Requirement Act? They'll print it off. Then you can read it, but they can't discuss that to you. So be mindful of that when you start moving money. Even when you start making deposits, once your business start going, you start making your deposits. You got to make sure that you're not triggering those things. So, like I said, first thing you want to do, find out what type of business you want to run, research it. Second thing you want to do, open up a DBA, go to your register office, and they'll give you the form, open that up. After you open up your DBA, next thing you want to do, this is going to be for physical business. If you're gonna do a virtual business, it's a little different. You don't have to actually go out and find a physical space. If you're doing a physical business, then what you want to do, you want to go out and actually find the physical location in which you want to run that business. And what you'll do, you'll ride out, you find the location, and once you see the location that you want, you need to call the town in which it's in or the county of which it's in. You need to call the zoning and planning board. And you need to ask them, say, hey, I saw this building for rent. I want to put a landscaping company there. Is it okay for me to put a landscaping company there? And then they would come back and they would tell you if that building is able to put a landscaping company there. Do not sign any paperwork until you get approval from the town that you can put that business in there. Now, we deal a lot with little small towns that right now that don't get a lot of business. Their towns have been distressed and they're on the come up. Because right now our money is not big enough to go to some major place like Wake County and stuff that's dealing with people coming in, building all the time. We happen to go out to, I guess, do our own little gentrification to places that are offskirts of bigger county, that's a little distressed. The property values are real low, and they haven't had many people coming in starting businesses. So a lot of times you call down there, they don't know the answer to it. And the person who might have known the answer might have retired. They haven't had a business come in a while. And you go there and you're waiting on them. It jumping through that hoop, it can take you forever. And then what happens also, while you're waiting there and you're telling, you find a business and you telling the person who owns the building that, hey, you're interested, but you can't really make a go on it until you get approval from the town. But you have other people still coming looking at that building that you actually could lose it. And we had that happen just recently. We had 2 buildings we're looking at, but we're waiting for get approval from the town and get approval from the franchisor that we're looking to be with, that those buildings got taken from us because the town couldn't come out and tell us if we could do it or not, if it was zoned for it. Now, when you get in zoning and planning, a lot of times, like I say, because some of these smaller towns and even some of the major towns, you go there, they're not used to businesses coming in to some of these smaller towns, and they'll tell you, yeah, you can put that business there. Yeah, it's zoned for that building, for that type of business. But the other stuff that go there, as far as parking and stuff, see, they don't know that you should be even considered the parking. So what happens, you say, okay, I can get that building, but if you're going to put a restaurant there, you have to have parking for your customers to come in. So what happens, if you get that building and they tell you can put a restaurant, and you say you're going to put some, and you start looking at the layout, you're going to start saying, hey, I'm going to put 30 tables there. And you take that to the planning board and say, hey, here go the restaurant I want, and this I don't have the table. They're going to tell you, you can't do that. You can't put but 2 tables there. You say, why? They say, because you don't have enough parking to put for a restaurant for customers to come. And in order for you to put that many tables, you got to go find some parking for them to park, a valet parking, or you got to build you a parking lot, a parking deck. And you might have already signed the lease with the guy, and you find out you can't have but 2 tables in there, and you can't do what you thought. So whenever you go to the planning board, you want to ask them a couple of questions. Okay, what's the parking that I would need to have for what you want to do? And they can look at your square footage for a retail spot and tell you about how many parking spots you need to have. If you're going to have a restaurant, they can look and see how many tables that you're going to have. A lot of times they tell how many parking spots you need to have. The next thing you want to do while you're at the planning board, you want to find out far as putting signs up and putting up advertising. That was one of the problems we had with our other business that I just got out of. It was in a city that's trying to come up and become like a Cary, North Carolina city, where they didn't want a lot of advertising. They didn't want a lot of folders up. They didn't want a lot of people out there spinning stuff and handing out flyers. They didn't want balloons and stuff. They didn't want that. So the only time you could really advertise was Friday afternoon after 5, but it had to be any advertising you had to be up before Monday morning. So what would happen? We couldn't really get out there and advertise our business because the town wouldn't allow you. And if they catch you out there advertising, they will actually have people come rip your advertising stuff down, your banners. They will fine you, and so that kind of pigeonhole you to how many customers you could get there. Because what happened, we would like to be marketing. If we got a big sale coming up, like you got Labor Day coming up, you want to be advertising. You got Labor Day sale 2 or 3 weeks ahead, so people riding by your store and stuff know, hey, that sale is coming up, and they make their plans to come out there. But if I had the advertising at the past store, I would have to only start advertising that Friday before Labor Day. That's Labor Day then, and I couldn't get the flow of traffic I need to come through there. So you need to check on signage, advertising, and the other thing too, when you're talking one more thing, when you're talking to the person you're gonna lease from, you need to find out when can you have deliveries and receive deliveries. Because if you got merchandise coming there, a lot of times they won't allow you to get merchandise only until a certain time. They say, okay, tractor trailers can't come in here after 6 o'clock, or they can't come during this time. If you're on Main Street or something, you might have to have the street blocked off in front of you because there's no parking, and where you guys say, okay, they'll tell you from this time to this time, you can block the truck, you can block the so many parking lots off and put cones out there so your tractor trailer can come, but then he got to be out of here by a certain amount of time. So you need to find out when your deliveries and stuff can come in, because once you do that, you might find out, hey, the building is good, it's a good location, a good price, but I can't get a tractor trailer truck in here to get my deliveries in if you got to have that, and they're going to have to come at a time where I can't actually get the product in and out like I should. So then you're going to be having another problem where you might have to rent another spot as a warehouse to put your stuff in, to go back and forth just to move merchandise. So that's the other thing too. You want to find out when they can get delivered. Excuse me, got them battling a little cold too. The fourth thing you need to do, once you get the location, you get it approved, and you know you're going to be there, then look at the lease agreement. When you go to sign the lease agreement, a lot of times this is what the people would do. The landlords, they'll tell you the monthly rent for this thing is is $1 per square foot, and you're looking at your storefront. It's 1,000 square foot. So you say, okay, it's $1,000 per month. Yeah, $1 per square foot. You say, okay, that's what I'm looking at. I can deal with that. So what would happen? You'll go and you sign your lease, but a lot of commercial properties have something kind of like what your house have, what they call HOAs, your homeowners association you have to pay. Well, a lot of commercial properties have that. The actual name of it is like tenement. I think it's tenement or something. I forget the actual name of it. But what initially it's the homeowners association for your commercial property. It's the money that everybody has to pay for the common areas, to keep the grass mowed, to keep the parking lot up to date, to keep the roof on the building done. A lot of times they don't tell you that. It's in the fine print when you sign your lease, and there they might say your HOAs for your commercial property might be 50 cents per square foot or more. So you paying you thinking your rent is just $1,000. Then when you sign the contract and you the first month you saying your rent payment is $1,000, they come back and say you short $500. You say no, where? Well, you need to read right here. You got to pay 50 cents per square foot for your HOAs. So what happened? They don't tell you that because a lot of times it runs people off. So when you go look at, when you get ready to do your lease agreement, you ask them, does that include? I should have known that. I should know the exact name, but just say any fees and stuff with the property, as far as keeping the property up and keeping the grass and stuff cut and all that. And then they'll come out and tell you, no, that's gonna be 50 cents. You can say, no, I can't pay $1,500, and you'll move on and find something else. The other thing too, when you're renting commercial property, it's not like renting your house, where if you're renting a house and the air conditioner goes out, or the heat goes out, or plumbing go out, you call the landlord up and you say, hey, my air conditioner not working, and he come over there and he fix it, and you don't have that to worry about. Well, with commercial property, if the air conditioner goes out, it's on you. So you need to go through and look at the mechanicals in there and see if they got old heating and air conditioning unit. If they got an old heater unit, they got old plumbing, old water heater. You want to make note of that and try to get some concessions. Say, okay, look, that heater and that water heater looking bad. I don't think it's gonna go. Can you replace that? And I'll sign the lease. If you can't replace it, then if you can give me a 2 or 3 year guarantee that it's gonna be okay. And if it fails within that time frame, you replace it. If it fails after that, then I'll take care of it. Once I start making some money, then we okay. But you want to look at those mechanicals because you're going to be the one responsible for that if it goes bad. It's not like your house where you can call them up and they come fix it. No, if it breaks, it's on you. You got to fix it. So that's the fourth thing. Before you sign your lease agreement, look through, make sure there's no HOA costs in there. And if it is, make sure you know what it is so you won't have no surprises. And you need to go over the actual... the mechanicals and stuff, and try to get concessions if they're old. If they're new and working well, then you fine. The fifth thing you want to do after you've done all that and you actually got the building lease and you ready to open up, you want to go then and get you an EIN number. That's employee identification number. And if you're going to be reselling merchandise and stuff in a state that requires state taxes, you need to get you a state tax ID. And all that stuff can be done pretty easy online. You just fill it up, and the EIN is like the Social Security number for your business. You use that when whenever you're doing stuff with the business. Don't use your Social Security number. Use the EIN number. So you're totally separating yourself from the business. Even if you're a sole proprietor.